Hello everybody, who am I, Granger Gamer, and today we're going to be doing a little challenge where we need to put a satellite in orbit. I decided to do this sort of as a series where we do some sort of role-playing scenario things. As you can see, this video is sped up immensely because I took my sweet time building this thing, let's say. Let's quickly go over the satellite. I put 2 COM neutrons on it, I put 2 satellite dishes on it, RCS, solar panels, batteries, all the good stuff. Fully self-sustainable. Then I attached 4 fuel tanks to it with 1 liquid fuel engine for orbital maneuvers. I barely used the engine. We've wrapped it up in fairings, strapped 3 of the large fuel tanks on there. I'm pretty sure they're called like a kerbal. They're the kerbal size. Slapped the mammoth engine on it, and now my goal was to make it look like a Falcon 9. And for the Falcon 9, obviously you can reuse the first stage, so I wanted to try and land the first stage, and as you'll see right about here, this is the takeoff. It didn't work. Basically, I didn't have electricity. I forgot to add solar panels because I'm stupid, and it blew up. But I will use it again in another episode because I think it will work. I'm pretty sure it will work. It's got landing struts, it's got the parachutes, it's got the RCS, it's got all the good stuff. And it got me to orbit with still fuel, like enough fuel to deorbit it and probably soften a landing a little bit. So here we go. This thing had a delta V, if I remember, of 4,000 meters per second, which was the first stage. So this wasn't the most oomph I've ever got in a takeoff. I could probably have used some boosters on the side, but it did work. It was stable because of the mammoth engines. They've got so much glimbaling, you don't even need fins really. I didn't even bother using it. You can see I've got like a ring of monopropellant tanks underneath the fairings there. That's for the immense amount of RCS on the sort of first stage, because whenever I do some big crafts like this, I never put enough RCS on them. This time I wanted to get it right. It worked perfectly. I also have some parachutes under there and a few commutrons, obviously for the drone. The drone core was between the fairings and the fuel tanks. So more about what's this series going on, because I delve in very quickly then. My apologies, we need to slow down, take it slow. We've got a lot of time here while I'm getting to orbit. I try to aim for like 45 degrees usually. Depends, because I've got the if you look at the top, that's Kerbal engineering mod. It shows me my apoapsis and stuff. So if my apoapsis is rising way too fast, you simply pitch further. Too slow, pitch higher. It's pretty simple. So as you can see, we just entered the atmosphere, exited the atmosphere there. Ditched the fairings, because I don't want shit floating around curbing this save, because I want to make this nice and fresh. You see, we've got an apoapsis of 100,000. I'm going to try and do that with my periapsis as well and get them as close as possible. The first stage was mainly for getting me to orbit, but I had some fuel left here, so I decided to start to circularize with it. As you'll see, I don't quite get it perfect, but you can always sort it out with the second stage. This is literally a 2-stage rocket, so it's pretty much an SSTO. I mean, it is, because I didn't ditch anything to get to orbit. It just took me straight to orbit. No RSBs or SRBs or anything like that. None of that nonsense. So basically, this series, what we're going to do is I'm going to set myself a series of challenges, increasingly difficult. So this is the first one, obviously orbit, very easy, very simple, but it's got like, you can think of a reason why I would need it, like obviously a satellite, that's for communications, which is obviously a very useful feature. Next episode, we'll probably do something, either a space station or a MUN mission, something like that, or a manned mission to orbit. Like, just increasingly get more complex, more difficult, sort of building on my skills. I haven't played too much of the game. Still only under 100 hours, so I can get to pretty much every planet and sort of get back. I'm not the best at I'm not the best at gravity assists yet, so that's the reason my rockets are going to be quite. The rockets are going to have quite a lot of oomph usually because I don't use gravity assist to save delta V. I expend it a lot, in fact. So as you can see here, my orbit fucked up, so I got a 74 to 103, I think that said, which was enough. That's enough to not enter the atmosphere, and it's enough to the point where I can fix it if I need to. So here we go. I'm separating the two stages here. As you can see, I had way too much fuel in that probe. I could have easily probably gone to the moon with all that fuel if I wanted to, maybe min-miss. I had about 2,000 delta V left on that little probe there, I think, if I remember correctly. So here we go, I'm flipping the booster 180 degrees, pointing in the retrograde to do my deorbit burn. I was just going to do it straight away because my drone's in orbit, so there's no reason to not do it. Also, there was no kerbals on this mission. This was entirely remote controlled, pretty much, so that's a cool part. You know, in case it fucked up, I didn't want to lose any kerbals for role playing's sake. I know I can get them back, but here we go. We're also going to try and do a no revert flight policy, but we'll see. So I wanted to go for Kerbal Space Center here, so I did it way too close there. I realised that's going to cost a lot of delta V, and I don't have enough to do that manoeuvre pretty much. So I had to do it a bit further back for a little more of a gradual decrease, and that was only a 5-second burn. So I was like, yeah, sure. Then we warp here because I wasn't really bothered about waiting, to be honest. Our satellite's already gone off, doing its thing, you know. Take control of it later. And it was here I realised I couldn't turn off RCS, couldn't throttle up, couldn't deploy my parachutes. I was like, what may be the issue? So I thought it was a time right there. Check the time, make sure it's 1. And so the RCS thrusters were still firing. And then I checked, and boom, electric charge. Zip. No electric charge, but that is the Falcon 9 booster, pretty much. And I'm going to keep that because that works phenomenally for small payloads. I believe the satellite was 6 tons, I think. I don't remember entirely. It wasn't heavy. It was definitely under 10 tons, and we got into orbit perfectly fine. Fuel to spare. So here we're going 2,300 meters per second, which is 4,000 miles per hour, I think. 4,000 something miles per hour. We're going fast. We're going very fast. So yeah, I didn't know what to do here. I tried to manually turn on the engine, wouldn't work. So I just decided to enjoy the show pretty much. I knew something was going to blow up. I had no way of decelerating. Really, I had nothing to do. So I decided to let it go. Let it smack into the atmosphere at 2,300 meters per second. Just sort of see what would happen. Obviously, there's no heat shield in this thing because I was going to rely on really slowing down using the engines, if I'm honest. But here we go. We're burning up, but burning through the atmosphere here at an intense speed. You can see we're going to begin to decelerate quite a bit here. So far, nothing's overheating, which is a bit odd. The RCS thrusters are still firing. There's nothing I can do about them. So here we get overheating. That's actually on the engine. It doesn't show the bar. Then we flip into retrograde here. I'm not sure why. I didn't have it selected. Maybe that was just the way dynamics worked. All the RCS thrusters are firing for no apparent reason. Overheat's reaching quite high now. We're still going very fast. And well, boom. We blew up. we lost a fuel tank, RCS thrusters, and the mammoth engine. But we're gonna lose everything else. You see here, I was trying to manually deploy the parachutes, but nope. So down we go. Unfortunately, we lost that booster there. That's a dint in my economy, a theoretical economy, and not to worry though, because the main goal of the mission still succeeded. We do indeed have our COMS satellite up. That is but a small indent. We'll make it up by the profits from this satellite for Tesco Mobile. So here we go. I'm going back to fly the satellite here because I wasn't satisfied with the orbit. It wasn't good enough. Wasn't circular enough. Just in case I ever wanna, do anything with it, I want it to be. I want it to have a pretty good orbit. So you see, we are about 20,000, 30,000 meters miles off from each end. So what I did is I decided to increase the periapsis by burning prograde at the apoapsis instead of decreasing the apoapsis, so I get about a near geothermal orbit. It's kind of in between low Kerbin orbit and geothermal orbit, but it'll do for comms. 100k is enough. So we're coming on to the apoapsis here, going pretty damn fast. So I'm aiming prograde here to obviously increase the periapsis when we get to the apoapsis. I've pretty much got in fact I have got full fuel, so this is no problem. I definitely could have gone a lot further to one of the moons, maybe one of the moons. You see here, I'm trying to get it perfect. That was 3,000 meters off. I was like, fuck it, that's good enough for me. Here we go. We extend the solar panels to avoid having that catastrophe again with the power. It's a very useful feature. We point ourselves towards the sun, and that's it. Pretty much, we're in sort of geothermal low Kerbin orbit with a lot of fuel if I ever want to take this anywhere, if I want to use it somewhere else, if I want to deorbit it. And right here I thought this was a nice shot. We've got the satellite, very nice circular orbit there, equatorial orbit. It just looks nice, so I decided to get a nice cinematic shot